All right, so I also want to address some questions I've gotten over email. One of which is, how do I set up my document? Can I just use this example that you've sent out to everybody? And the answer is no, you can't use this because the dimensions are not going to correspond with the document that you're supposed to turn into me. So what I want you to focus on is this gray area is the size of the document that you should be creating. Okay, and by document, artboard, however you want to think about that. So here, if I want to set this up, I'm going to come and say, okay, I need my artboard to be 20 inches by 15 inches. So new, okay, 20 inches by 15 inches. We don't need any kind of bleed. We don't need extra artboards here. I always like to just verify that the advanced options are set to CMYK and the resolution, which you've been introduced to now in Photoshop, is set to 300. We're not printing this project, but it's always nice to just ensure that you've set up the criteria in a way that you could print it later if you wanted to. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and create. Okay, and you're going to see that this is rectangular versus this white area is more of a square. So if you were just to come and plop all of your information here, your dimensions are not going to meet the criteria of the project, and that would be something that you would be dinged points for. Okay, so make sure your specs are set up correctly. So now I've got my working area, and what you would do is, remember, you're creating your inspiration board in Photoshop. So this would be one of those instances where you've done a great deal of beautiful photo work in another program. You're not going to open it in Illustrator. You're going to place the completed inspiration board by going to File and Place. You would navigate to wherever that was. I didn't plan to actually place anything, but I actually see I've got a folder here with an inspiration board. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, and I'll just drop that in, and that's absolutely the wrong size. This came from another student, so I will delete that, but that's the process. Okay, again, is you're going to go to File, you're going to Place, and then you're going to put it on your board. Okay, I can actually go ahead and grab the swatches that I used from the video 2 videos ago, and I can bring those over and I'll paste them. And I have actually sized these correctly because, again, you're going to see here that these color swatches, okay, here in this color, dark pink, should be 1.5 by 1.5. I did create my swatches at that size. So I can bring those over and place them. Okay, and of course they should all be labeled with Pantone numbers. Losing them because they're not grouped. So the number, well, yeah, you'll see I brought that over accidentally. I'm going to delete that one. Okay, so you'd line those up over here. As you create your icons, you would bring them up over here. And again, you would have your inspiration board here. And this would be what you would save. Now, the other thing that you're going to notice is that I did say that there is a 1/2 inch of space between all of my objects and my borders, okay, with the exception of the bottom here. And I know we played with rulers a little bit, but let's just make sure you guys are really comfortable with rulers and how to set guides. So right now there is no ruler view here for me. I have no visual cue to tell me how large my artboard is. But I can open that up by going to View, and your rulers are right here, and you can say Show Rulers. You also see that it's just Command or Control R. Okay, now that's up, and again I can confirm this is 20 inches by 15, and I want to set guides for myself. Now remember, guides, if you come up to View and Guides, you can make guides, unlock guides, and hide guides. I'm going to go ahead and select Make Guides, and that's not going to work because I have an object selected there, so let's try that again. Oh, and now that's not available for some reason. Things like that sometimes happen, and I was going to show you the other way to work through this. So again, first off, View, Guides, and Make if you need to. Okay. But you can also always drag down from your ruler. So I'm using my black arrow. I'm going to click and hold and just drag, and you see how this blue line's following me? And I need to place it at 1 inch. Okay, and it's only telling me 2 inches. So I can figure out that's 1 inch. Okay, and then that's going to be 1/2 an inch. Okay, and I'm sorry people have not texted me today, and of course they're texting me and it's dinging as I'm creating this video. And that's the first one, okay, 1/2 inch. I'll create one here, same thing, that's 1 inch, so 1/2 inch is here. Okay, that's 20, I'm gonna work back to 19.5. And then remember, it's not gonna be set the same at the bottom, okay? I'm gonna use my black arrow to select all of these. And when they're all selected, you're gonna see these alignment tools light up. I'm just gonna make sure they're all centered together vertically. Actually, it says horizontal, okay? And it shifts to the artboard. It's using the artboard as the basis for figuring out where center is, and that's okay because I still can see that all of my swatches are centered together. And I'm gonna go ahead and place that at the top and right of those two guides, okay? The next thing I need to ensure is that these are all the same distance apart and that they are 1/2 inch apart. And just to simplify this right now, because I've only got this one Pantone number, when you have your Pantone numbers, you can group them together, okay, all 6 of those to ensure that they're treated as one object. But what I'm going to do again is I'm going to go ahead and highlight these 6 swatches, and I'm going to grab my alignment menu. Okay, I'm going to go to View and Align, and I'm going to expand this because there's not very much visible here. So I'm going to come up here to my options and I'm going to say Show My Options, and you're going to see that you have beyond alignment, which popped up at the top earlier, you've got this option for distribute objects, okay? And they'll, distribute vertically and horizontally and whatnot. But what I want to do is I want to very purposely say I want these distributed by 1/2 an inch. And so first things first, I have to say I want to align to, and what is the object right now that I know is absolutely in the right place? Okay, the only thing that's absolutely in the right place is my pink object because I know it's 1/2 an inch from the top and 1/2 an inch from the right. So I'm going to align to a key object. Okay, and see how this big blue line emerges? Right now, the black object is the key object, and that's wrong. So I'm going to click up here, okay, to make sure my pink one is treated as the key object. I'm going to say I want these to be 1/2 an inch apart. And then I'm going to click this button, Vertical Distribute Space. Okay, and now I know that those are all perfectly spaced at 1/2 an inch. Okay, when you place your inspiration board, you'll go ahead and place it up against these two guides, and that will automatically, because I've already done the math for you, there will automatically be 1/2 an inch between your inspiration guide and these swatches. Okay, and then when you place your inspiration board here, you can go ahead and drag down a guide to indicate the bottom of the inspiration board, and then you could do it manually by bringing another guide down and figuring out where 1/2 an inch is. Okay, would be one approach. Or if you're feeling comfortable with this distribution method, you could also select the inspiration board and your icons and do the same thing, distribute spacing that way. Okay, but that'll ensure that everything's placed really cleanly and perfectly. The same can be said for project board number 2. You're going to go through the same process. Okay, you're going to go through File and New. You're going to create a new artboard, which is this gray area at 20 by 15. And as you're creating each of your swatches, you'll create that rectangle. Remember, you can simply use your rectangle tool, click, and you can put 2 inches by 4.5. Okay, and then you can use the same function here. I've said here that there is 2 inches of space between all objects and borders. So if this were my swatch board instead of my inspiration board, I could come over and do 2 inches by grabbing my guide, okay, and placing it like that. Okay. I will be back in a moment to go over some remaining tools, and hopefully that will be it for this part of the lectures related to this project.